All right, welcome back to the Blender 3 Docwalk. This document is common shortcuts. I feel like this gets a little too advanced, a little too early on in the documentation, so I'm going to go over kind of the necessary stuff and then the more complex stuff, especially if you're a beginner, working through this. I'm not going to go into depth. I'm just going to tell you what it is, what it does, and when we get to that section, we will go over these shortcuts again. If you have been following along in the documentation, this part probably seems pretty familiar to you. Is this first one, it has a G. That simply means, in fact, all of these little button indicators are just that. They're kind of how it just looks on the keyboard. Your keyboard doesn't have an alphabetical layout that's in lowercase, right? So anytime you see a little key with an uppercase letter in it, that's simply referring to that button on the keyboard. Shift, Control, Alt, same thing. These are traditional modifiers. When you see them kind of grouped like this, that means that you're using the modifier with whatever key. So I would hold down my Control button and then tap W. Hold down Control and hold down Shift and then tap A, right? Number pad. When you see this, it's talking about the 0 on your number pad, not across the top row. Same thing here, numpad plus. It's talking about the plus on your numpad, not the plus in the top row next to your backspace or between the 0 and equals. Anyway, okay, escape, tab, they should be pretty obvious. Those are the buttons that we're referring to. F1 through F12 are talking about your F keys, your function keys across the very top, if you have them. And then your arrow keys, instead of having a little up, down, left, right arrows, they're simply left, right, up, and down in a little button icon. For the mouse, LMB, left mouse button, RMB, right mouse button, MMB, middle mouse button, wheel, pretty simple. So I kind of talked about this a little earlier, where there's kind of this division between whether or not you should use your right mouse button for selecting. You can change that in your settings. They have a link to a Vimeo video here where the instructor goes through specific instances where some people like to have the right click select. Again, these are things personally I like my left button select, but it's really up to you. But this video is interesting. I'm gonna put a link in the description of this video, so go ahead and check that out if you want to. I think we all know what hovering is. So this starts to get into kind of some weird territory. When you are hovering over something and you do Control C, it's going to copy the value of that button. Yeah, this is some more advanced stuff. If you're just kind of starting to get to know Blender, I really wouldn't worry about this. Okay, right mouse button in the middle of like the 3D viewport, right? It's going to bring up your context menu. Backspace is going to clear a value. Obviously, minus negates. Control wheel changes the value incrementally. That's actually interesting. I'll show you guys that really quickly. Oh, yep. Okay, so if I, bring my cursor over one of these and I hold down Control while wheeling, see how it's changing the value? It's a pretty fast way to kind of scrub through values. If you want to see what the Control C thing does, let's see here. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do this one. Okay, so I'm going to hover over this button. Actually, I was thinking of Control Shift C. Okay, well, never mind. Let's just show you that anyway. Why not? Control Shift C. Okay, let's go to scripting. Open a new document. And this is what we just copied. If I do that over one of my tools, go to scripting, That works. Okay, so that was pretty much all that stuff. Oh, nope. No. Let's jump back really quick. Okay, so let's go back to our 3D viewport. Right mouse button gives you this context menu. If I hit the minus button here, that will give me a -1. If I hit the minus button here, that will simply clear out that dimension. If you hold Alt down while editing, while editing the values of, whatever you're working on, it will apply the changes to everything you have selected. I think that's pretty much really all you need to know from here. I doubt you're going to be jumping right into animation. I brings up a little menu to insert a keyframe. Alt-I will clear the keyframe. Shift-Alt-I will clear all of your keyframes. Control-D will assign a driver. Drivers are, this stuff is way too advanced. That'll remove it. Keying set. Yeah, this is all advanced animation stuff, which we will all get to later. I really don't think you're going to have to be memorizing this just yet. This is all scripting stuff, which we kind of played around with anyway for a second. Dragging. Okay, this is cool. Yeah, I'll show you how this works really quickly. All right, if I let's take a side view. Whoops. And I'm going to hit R for rotate. Okay, so I'm going to be rotating this guy. Now, watch. If I hold down Control while I do this, it's going to take me in discrete steps throughout the rotation. Holding down Control, see that? Click, 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 click. Let it go, and it's nice and smooth. Hold it down again. Click, 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 click. All right. So that's with everything. Okay, that's with like if you're doing scaling, right? It clicks in discrete steps. Now if you hold down Shift while doing this, rotation is easier to see it with. Let's do it with rotation. Okay, so this is normal rotation, right? Now if I hold down Shift, watch what happens. See how slowly it rotates? I'm gonna have to circle it several times for it to get to where. So this is more for just really precision sort of movements. This also works for scaling. Let's do it. And watch. If I, you don't have to worry about hitting the end of the screen here because it will come through on the other side. Just to show you, see how it just popped through on the other side, that you've gone through a couple iterations. So over and over and over, there it goes. Okay, so next, Shift and Control. Okay, let's do it with rotation again. All right, we're gonna rotate, Control for discrete stepping, and then Shift for precision discrete stepping. Pretty nifty, right? All right, so go over that one more time. Control is discrete steps. Shift is precision. Control and Shift is discretely stepped precision. And text editing, this is your traditional text editing shortcut setup. Home key brings you to the home of the line. End key to the end of the line. Left, one character to the left, right, one character to the right. Control left will move the cursor. It'll jump a word, an entire word. So, you can move through words or through your document a word at a time. Backspace is backspace, delete, both pretty much the same thing. Let's just go through all of the text editing in case you're not familiar with it. It's somewhat similar to a word processor, but it's actually just a little different. Arrow keys move you about. The home key takes you to the front of the line. End key takes you to the end. Holding down control jumps words, and like in this case, see how the words are separated by the underscore? It'll jump the whole thing. Symbols usually are, single. Well, apparently with Blender, it includes symbols in its jump, which is not traditional, but could be useful. Again, I don't use the Blender text editor. I have it tied to my IDE, so don't often use this. Deleting words at a time. If I hold Control down and hit delete, backspace takes out what is in front or before your cursor. Delete takes out what is in front. Okay, so if we do Control backspace, it'll delete the word before. Control delete will delete the word in front. Again, let's do that somewhere where it's a little bit more obvious. Okay, Control backspace, delete what's behind. Control delete, it's going to take out what's in front, word-wise. Selecting, holding down Shift while you move the arrow key. Okay, if you want to select a word at a time, you can hold down Control Shift and select words at a time, or word chunks at a time. Control A is all. Control C is copy. Control V is paste. And Control X, I just did Control A in case you'd think that was Control X. Control A does all again. Control X will clear it. X is goodbye. Two last things. This is more easily demonstrated here. Okay, I'm going to grab this with G. G grabs your object. And I'm going to move it around, but before I click again to drop it off where I want, if I decide I don't want to move it, all I have to do is either right click or hit escape. So if I hit escape, it takes it back. If I right click, it takes it back. So those are two ways to cancel an action in progress. The other is, if I'm rotating it and I want to confirm it, I will do the left mouse click and confirm it. I can also confirm with the Enter key. All right, that is it for this one. Common shortcuts. Interesting document there. I will see you guys in the next one, which is default key map.